Hi everybody, Tracey Jude here, author of Mr. Topaz Takes a Walk and a few other stories that teach kids life skills and allows them to practice them throughout their development. The books are geared towards preschool through elementary. I'm going to say grade 3, 4, even 5th graders like the stories. Older siblings like reading the books to their younger siblings. Parents like reading the books to their families. It isn't a book you just read through, and you're going to see a little bit of what happens as I show you the book. There are some other things that can happen too within the story, and that is alleviating a couple of symptoms that accompany children with autism or people with autism. The result is stepping through PRT with Mr. Topaz Takes a Walk. The story is included in the book, and I'd like to talk a little bit more about what PRT is. Pivotal Response Treatment. Homeschooling is kind of like that. You have opportunities to make your point when there's something natural going on, and it makes it kind of an organic learning experience. So that's what pivotal response treatment is. It's pivotal because it uses motivation that the child wants something. So they have to exhibit that they've learned how to do what you are teaching them before they get their reward. Okay, so kind of a token system as well. One really good example I want to explain about that is when my daughter's daycare mother taught her how to speak. She knew, I'm going to put this down, it's a little annoying. She knew how to speak. She was beginning to talk and say some words, and the daycare mother had her milk all ready for her. And she said, "You want some milk?" And the child was pointing, as they do, as they learn to do that. And she said, "Say milk." And until my daughter could say milk, she didn't get it. You know, and that went on for, a few minutes. Of course, she got her milk, but the important thing is that she learned to talk as well. And she was a very early talker and a very good talker. And so these are things you can do with all children, not just children with autism. So let's dive right in and see what this book is all about. There's a couple of pages in the beginning that are going to show you a little bit of what you can do with the book. Now, when it comes to kids with autism, one of the things that this book does is connect with them because it's animals as the characters. The animals are the main characters, and they connect with that. Temple Grandin once wrote that her success with the cattle ranching industry was attributed to the fact that she perceived the world the way animals do. She got into their head and she translated that. In fact, she wrote a book called Animals in Translation. She translated to the cattle ranchers what was going on with their cattle. And she made it a lot easier for them to do what they needed to do. Treat them, giving them their medications, all the way to processing. So you'll introduce the story to the child and its characters, and again, they're animals. You can also do a couple of things too, like foster communication and manage anger. And that's going to be very key because it's so frustrating, it's so hard to know what you want to say, not be able to say it, know what's going on and what's bothering you, and not be able to get that across to the people who can help you. So hopefully some things in this book will show you how to do that. Let's move on to the story. I won't go into the entire story, but I'm going to get you through some of it. You'll see at the beginning, and this is also in just the storybook, that there are keywords that are marked with either paw prints or diamonds. All you simply do is sway one way or another with these words, and I'll demonstrate. Here we go. 1, 2. 1, 2. Mr. Topaz went for a walk because he wasn't allowed to talk. Mr. Topaz talked too much, and his friend Miss Tinky said, "Be quiet," and such. So you can see how the rhythm is coming into the story just by the swaying. You can also tap on a table. If you tap on your arm, that creates sensory food for your brain. It's amazing what the brain needs. It needs this sensation sometimes. And your child may be no different. You will know better than anybody what your child can tolerate. So if you can tap them on the hand, there's tons of neurosensors here. So they're going to get a lot of feedback. That may be too overstimulating. It may be just right. You'll just have to use your own judgment with that. So I'm going to keep on going through the story. We got Mr. Topaz got real mad, and he wanted to hit Miss Tinky real bad. Even if your child isn't academically at the level where they can understand the story, they're going to really feel the rhythm. That's my hope. I can't speak for everybody. Most of us do respond to rhythm, especially rhythm we can feel. But angry Topaz had a hunch. It's better to walk than throw a punch. It's better to walk than throw a punch. I repeat this in the story in key lines or key pages, and I ask the children to repeat it. That's why it is repeated. So he walked about, he walked his anger out. Then he marched about, he marched his anger out. So you can see on these 2 pages, we go from a walking. So I actually get the kids up and we walk whenever I read to my groups or even individuals. Then we start marching. Okay, so the sensation is just a little bit different, yet still rhythmic. Then we stomp about. We stomp his anger out. You can go ahead and do this with me if you're so inclined. Stomping is another sensation as well. All of this is providing sensory food right back up to the brain, which calms it, makes the person more alert and relaxed and more receptive to learning. Then he danced, and he danced, and he danced about. He danced his anger out. Again, totally different sensory food. Mr. Topaz thought anger's just no fun, so he counted to 1. Now, if you're familiar with anger management techniques of counting, you count to 10. With each one of these numbers, Mr. Topaz does some self-reflection. And at this point, after we've done the walking and the marching and the stomping and the dancing, which could go on as long as you want, then it's time to sit back down. Child might be ready to do that and start counting. So he counted to 2. He said, "Tink, I'm not mad at you." So that's his first moment of reflection. First it was, anger's no fun. Let's try something else. Then it's, am I really mad at you? So he counted to 3 and said, maybe I'm really mad at me. So if you'll notice, as I read that, maybe I'm really mad at me, there's kind of a pause in there. That pause, like in music, has its purpose, and it also carries through in with the rhythm as well. So you can stretch that out if you want. Maybe I'm really mad at me. You can do whatever you want because it's your tool to use. So let your child inspire all the great ideas you're going to have with this. He took a deep breath and he counted to 4. Mr. Topaz thought, I should breathe more. As you notice, I am starting to just read in the rhythm. Doesn't always have to be an active book, but if your child needs it, you've got it. You've got a tool here to facilitate movement and activity and rhythm, all of that sensory food for the brain. Mr. Topaz is actually role modeling how to breathe. So I've got a question for you, and I would really like you to reach out to me at my website, which I will tell you at the end of this video. Is he inhaling or exhaling here? Tell me what you think. I'd like to hear from you. And I'm going to go ahead and close that up right now and let you discover the rest of the story. At the end of the story, there is a workbook section. All right, not to get too detailed or too micromanaging of how you're going to work with your child and what you're going to teach them. These are just suggestions. But through the pages of the book, you can do some things like teaching them when, if they're not verbal, when they'd like to walk, if they want to walk or if they want to dance. If you feel that they need to be pretty active, do we walk or do we dance? Leave the choice making to about 2. If they come up with a 3rd choice, all the better, but don't overwhelm with too many choices. And I know that you probably already know that. That's something I learned a little bit too late, but still not too late for you. A timeout, that can be very, very enlightening. It can just be such a grand moment when your child first comes to indicate or tell you time out and then goes to take a time out, a breather, a minute, a beat, as we call it in the music industry. Let's take a beat. If I were to rewrite the book, I would put that in there. Let's take a beat. But anyway, every activity page has a time to stop indicator on it. And again, these can be pointed at, or you can begin teaching these verbal commands to your child if you sense that they can begin speaking, or if they can already speak, all the better. It's called fading. There is a page in there that I will include in the book. I'm not probably going to get to that page in this video, but I'm going to show it right here. Fading basically is when you say the entire phrase, sing song please, and they repeat that. And after they repeat enough times, you then let them fill in the blank. Sing song, of course, please. Then you can cover up or omit song, sing, and let them finish it. That's called scripting. And over time, as you get into this mode of working with your child, they'll come up with their own scripts. And that's going to be really cool, the day they come up with their own script. Time 2 selections, that all involves choice making as well. And time 2 is an indicator from your child that they're done, they want to do something else, that can put them in a sense of control and give them a sense of power or empowerment, which can really help to alleviate anger as well. Okay, a lot of the pages in the book are dual purpose, and I'll let you read more about that when you get your own book, because I've found 2 purposes. You're going to find a lot more. So now that we've gone through the book, this is something else you'll find on the website. It's just a little sheet about starting a sensory diet. Again, just suggestions. So the first thing that basically stands out with these books is their color. Okay, that provides sensory input from the eyes to the brain. Okay, the blues, the browns, the purples, they're all calming, right? Yeah. Okay. A calm mind, as I've said before, is an alert mind, and it's ready to learn. So there's your teachable moment when you can get them calm right away. Rhythm, I've talked about that throughout the book. It's all through it. Movement, also. Breaks, throughout the book you'll find them. I've indicated a couple of breaks you could take. You'll find more when you get your book. Choice making, of course, we want to empower them, give them a sense of control. And it's music. It's music. Music itself is a multi-sensory tool. It's going to engage the ears. It does engage the brain in different hemispheres. It's basically a dual hemisphere tool for relaxing the mind. So use music any chance you get. And you'll find different ways you can. There's a page in the book I am going to show you. Let's just play. So at that point, if you choose to, let's take a break and just play, turn on a CD. If you have an instrument, if you have a piano, let the child go and explore the piano. Let them explore whatever instrument you have. Drums are good. Drums are considered musical instruments. Rhythm is an aspect of music. It's one of the components, and it's a very strong component. So rhythm will actually work very well, even if you're just tapping together and you're doing kind of a mini drum circle among either the 2 of you or the group of you. One final note about rhythm. There's something called entrainment, and as a parent, we often try to entrain our very young children, infants, how to kind of synchronize with us. And we don't even realize that we do this. But when you're sing-songing to your infant, or when you're talking in your own unique way to them, see if there's a rhythm to that. I'm betting there is. More importantly, see if your child is attuning to that rhythm, or attending, or being attentive, or maybe moving in some way at the same pace, tempo that you are moving. And if you want to know more about that, reach out to me and we'll have a conversation, and I can guide you more about that. But watch for that. It can be a really fun moment of connection between the 2 of you. That said, there is some research that indicates if that isn't happening, that there may be something to look at, and you may want to get some testing done. A man by the name of Condon, I think I mentioned this research on my website. If I don't, again, reach out to me and I'll get that information to you. But a man by the name of Condon did some research with infants and entrainment and discovered that infants who do not entrain with their parents, when their parents are doing something rhythmically with them, grew up to exhibit behaviors common with kids with learning disabilities, schizophrenia, and autism. So that in itself is not going to be a defining moment or a defining indicator that, oh, wow, your kid's got autism. No, it's just something to watch for, and it's just something to keep in mind. And if that, among some other things, is present, then you know that you really need to have your child looked at. So that said, I also want to basically emphasize the importance of music and the things that you can find and discover in that musical moment. As a music therapist working with the elderly in nursing homes, we would often sing. And this is something you can find, you can discover along with your child when you're singing together, or if they're singing. People in the nursing home, often in wheelchairs, not very active, are not breathing very fully. And they will not show symptoms of a respiratory infection or even an allergy, just some sort of distress. When we are singing, they'll start coughing. And at no other time throughout the day will they cough. So staff doesn't catch it, and they don't even realize it until they're singing and they start coughing. Well, singing promotes deep breathing. So to me, that indicated they could not breathe deeply. And I would say something to the staff. I'd say, it may be in its early stages. Just have them looked at and keep your eye out for something. Maybe nothing, but just be aware. And that's all we can do, is just be aware. So if you'd like to get a hold of me and have more conversations, if you'd like to reach out and just give me your comments, I would love to hear from you. If you want the books, you can get them very easily at my website, mrtopaz.world. Mr. Topaz and I are both on Facebook. I am Tracey Jude, so you can reach out to me there as well. I'll put this up again. Gonna do this old school. And again, you can pause the video and take your time with the books as much as you want. I hope to hear from you soon. Good health to you. Happy day. Bye-bye now.